Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mangs, and today I'm going to answer some questions. So yeah, you asked me a lot of cool questions in the Q&A video I did when I reached 100,000 views on YouTube, and I am going to be answering them here with some fancy Fire Emblem music in the background, as well as some fancy art whenever I feel like it. So yeah, let's get to it! Alright, so the first question comes in from Ultimate Gamers 03, and he asks, if you were to make a Fire Emblem hack, what would the story be like? And this is a great question because I've actually been working on the story for a Fire Emblem hacks for some years now. Now, ever since I was little, I've always been writing stories. When I was 9 years old, I wrote a book. It wasn't very good, but I wrote it. And I've also been a dungeon master for 10 years. Now, if you don't know what that is, go look it up on Google. So, writing stories is a big passion of mine. I would call it even a hobby. So I wouldn't call myself a professional writer though, but I'd like to think I'm not terrible at it. So I really wanted to do something that hasn't been done before in the Fire Emblem community. So the story I'm actually working on is a pirate-themed Fire Emblem game. So usually Fire Emblem is about lords, ladies, knights and mercenaries, but this story revolves around sort of a Pirates of the Caribbean style continents with islands and oceans. And I'm actually planning to use the map of Fire Emblem 8. It's going to be a Fire Emblem 8 hack because that has an overland map, and actually using that, converting it to a overland map on an ocean and having a ship sailing around from islands to island, and actually making that a focal point of the storyline, the fact that you can sail around to different locations. So I've actually been working on a main character. Her name is Christy, and I even have a picture of her, which I'm going to show you here. Here she is. So, yes, I know what you're all thinking. Boobs. What can I say? I like busty ladies. She might not look like that. That's just a concept sketch of her. But she's going to be pretty, that's for sure. I'm gonna have a pretty female main character. That's one thing I've decided upon. But maybe not that extreme. We'll have to see. Anyway, so Christy is the captain of a pirate ship, and she has a crew. And they're not entirely bad pirates. They're a little bit inspired by Fargus and his crew. They're sort of heroes of the people, I would say. But they're still a little bit in the grey area. They're not above plundering and pillaging, but they usually steal from the rich. They don't give to the poor, however. They like to keep the spoils for themselves. So they're definitely like in the grey zone. So I think that's what's most entertaining. So the story of the game is that the Royal Navy has arrived at the area where Christy and all the other pirates live, and they've been exterminating the pirates little by little, and now they've taken control of almost the entire continent. Now the thing about the Royal Navy is that they are extremely corrupt and very oppressive. They're sort of the main villains of the story, and the admirals in charge of the Royal Navy are extremely rich, very evil, and really only out for themselves. So the Navy seizes control of different villages and really entire islands, and they demand ridiculous taxes from the people, torture them, kill them in the streets, brand them as outlaws if they stand up against them. So because of that, the few remaining pirates who rise up against them become like heroes of the people, and they actually are the good guys. However, there are also evil pirates who side with the Navy, because the Navy is so corrupt that they actually allow certain pirates to exist as long as they pay tribute to them. So they even allow them to plunder villages, which is why they're not really looked upon as a navy who gets rid of the pirates. They only get rid of the pirates who doesn't want to bow to them. So the entire story revolves around the fact that Christy's father used to be a great pirate, one of the greatest, and she's his daughter, so she has a big reputation to live up to. And suddenly the Royal Army comes chasing after her, and they're of course much better equipped and much better trained than her, so she has to flee. And little by little she has to fight against the pirates, avoiding them wherever she can, liberate villages from their rule, gather followers, and all that good stuff. And I'm not really gonna talk too much about the entire story, but that's the basic concept of the story. So yeah, and I've also actually started working on some characters for her crew. Among her crew, there's going to be some crazy swashbucklers, you know, your good standard pirates, and also a retired ex-marine who actually left the Navy because he saw how corrupt it was and decided to join Christy's crew. And yeah, so I got a lot of cool characters, which I'm going to put on her crew, as well as people who will join her on the way, of course. And I also plan to make gunpowder a part of the story. So there will be guns, blunderbusses, cannons, muskets, stuff like that. Although, you know, I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it from a gameplay perspective, but the only important part is that they don't outshine the original weapons. Not sure if I'm going to make it so that there's also bows in the game. We'll have to see. But it's at least going to be inspired a lot by pirates, and the theme revolving around pirates. And I think it could work really, really well. So will I be able to make a hack out of this? Who knows? Maybe when my popularity increases and my influence grows, I'll be able to get some help from some good spriters and some good hackers, and I'll be able to start on the project. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. But I'll keep writing the story, and maybe I'll even make another video where I explain the entire story in detail, of course without spoiling too much. Because I do have plans for an endgame, I do have plans for a main villain, I do have plans for plot twists, and it's just not going to be... It's not going to be just Christie and her crew sailing around fighting against the Navy all game, because that would be very, very tedious and one-sided. It's going to be a much deeper plot. And no, it's not going to be the resurrection of a demon king or something stupid like that. It's going to be a little bit more down to earth, a little bit away from the traditional Fire Emblem stories we're used to. It's going to be a little bit more real, I would have to say. A little bit more real. Alright, so I hope that answered your question. And on to the next one, I guess. So the next question comes in from Zoma210, and he wants to know if I'm going to use a face cam for this Q&A. Well, I guess I've already answered your question. And he's also interested in knowing what I am studying and what I'm working with at the moment. So I'm studying to become a teacher, pretty much. However, there are some things I need before I can become a teacher, such as better math grades. So that's really what's holding me back. So I'm currently taking up math from high school. I did finish high school, but I need a better grade in order to start my final studies as a teacher. And once I do that, I will probably get a job as a teacher at some school nearby, I guess. I really like to work with students, and both my parents are teachers, so it's sort of in my blood, I guess. And I have a talent for it, or so I've heard, so it would be a shame to waste that working as something else. So yeah, it's either going to be a teacher in kindergarten, in junior high school, or maybe in for children, who knows. Maybe for disabled people too. I've been working a lot with disabled people, and I like to think I'm pretty good at that too. So as far as my work, I take work whenever I can get it. I work at kindergartens, I work at schools, I pretty much work wherever I can get work. So yeah, that's pretty much my answer right there. My work today may not be the same work in a week. I am pretty much a freelancer. So, well, maybe one day when I finish my education, I'll get myself a solid job somewhere, if I can find some places. But the problem is, I have a tendency to get a little bit tired of the same place, and after I work there for a month or so, I want to go elsewhere. So I'm a little bit wild when it comes to things like that, and I have a tendency to want to see other places. So yeah. Hope you got your answers. Next question. Alright, so Mr. Dastardly19 is wondering whether I'm going to be making an Advanced Wars Dual Strike Let's Play in the near future. And my answer is yes, I will. There are a couple of things that is holding me back. For the first, there's so many other games I want to play at the moment, and I don't really like Dual Strike. But I know that there's a lot of people out there who do, so that might be a good reason to do one. First things first, getting a good DS emulator is hell. Let me just say that. So, if anyone wants to help me out and locate a good emulator for me, then by all means, please send me one, because I was actually spending hours trying to find a good DS/3DS emulator, because I actually wanted to do an Awakening Let's Play. And after several hours of only virus-filled, stupid, annoying sites that didn't give me anything, I actually gave up, because I don't know, there was just so many bad emulators, and they didn't work properly. I couldn't record with them. One emulator I couldn't even get to work in full screen, which is ridiculous. So if anyone wants to help me out, then send me a good 3DS or DS emulator. I would really appreciate it. So yeah, a Dual Strike Let's Play may be coming on the horizon. It will definitely be coming on the horizon. I just can't tell you how soon, so I hope that answered your question. So the next question, or rather I should say the next questions, come from Thomas Ansel, and he actually has multiple questions for me, so I'm going to be answering them all. The first question he has is what I would put in an Advanced Wars game. I actually made an entire blog about this. No, blog I'm saying, vlog, not blog. I actually made an entire vlog about this where I explained in detail exactly what I would do, so you could go watch that if you really want a detailed explanation, but I guess I could mention very, very quickly. So, what I would put inside an Advanced Wars game if I were to make it, a couple of things. First things first, I think I'd go back to the simplicity of Advanced Wars 1 with no superpowers. First things, I think superpowers are a little bit silly, and I prefer the simplistic normal powers. So, instead of having a superpower, I think I'd instead have multiple normal powers. Like, for example, if you played Andy, you could choose between a power that repaired 2 hit points, maybe another that restored some ammo and fuel, and maybe another one that increases firepower a little bit. So you could have multiple choices between several small powers that didn't give you a huge edge. Because I really think superpowers disrupt the balance in Advanced Wars, and they're a little bit too strong. So I will also implement experience from Super Famicom Wars, and also I've heard experience also plays a part in Days of Ruin. So yeah, I would definitely implement experience, the ability for units to level up. I think that is pretty important. And I would probably add a few more units and remove some. I'd remove the Neo-Tanks. I kind of think they're silly, but maybe instead go back to the Super Famicom style formula of having light tanks, medium tanks, and heavy tanks. So, you know, I think that would actually be a lot more enjoyable. And of course, making battleships as badass as they used to be, like really making naval units better, because naval units have been overlooked the entirety of the Advanced Wars games. I don't know how they are in Days of Ruin, but naval units have always been a joke. They're expensive, they're bad, they don't really do a lot. If you build them, you're going to lose. You're better off building air units. So yeah. Aside from that, I don't think I would change that much, because you don't want to alienate the viewers. But I did talk a lot about my idea, which is Advanced Wars Retro, which is a Advanced Wars prequel that takes place before Advanced Wars 1, where you basically could see the forming of Blue Moon, the split between Orange Star that causes Olaf and Grit to actually leave and join Blue Moon, and Olaf actually taking command over Blue Moon. You know, seeing Hachi and Kambai as the pupils of Sensei. There's a lot of good stuff. The love triangle between Nell, Max, and Grits. You know, there's a lot of good things that could be expanded upon there. Maybe even seeing Shades of Sturm, actually seeing how Sturm came to power and how Sturm eventually decided to approach Olaf and corrupt him. Because that is never explained. So yeah, Advanced Wars Retro would be amazing. So yeah. But again, if you really want a detailed explanation, then go watch my vlog. Just go to my channel and search up New Advanced Wars game, because I do explain it in detail there. Alright, the second question is a Let's Play of Fire Emblem 8 at all possible? Of course it is! I've said many times, I am going to Let's Play Fire Emblem 8 eventually. However, it's just not prioritized at the moment, because there's so many other games I want to do. I want to finish my Fire Emblem 5 Let's Play, my Fire Emblem 7 Let's Play, I want to do an XCOM Let's Play, I want to play more Civilization and Hearthstone. So there are a lot of games to simply take priority over Fire Emblem 8, because Fire Emblem 8, while a good game, it's really plagued by the fact that it's very easy, and that kind of is what ruins the game. However, there are patches to make it harder, so I might actually play a Fire Emblem 8 patch that increases the difficulty of it, and I think that could actually be pretty fun to do. Anyway, then his third question is, are there any more games you want to try for us? Well, it's a little bit of a difficult question. I usually try to play whatever is in demand, that is, whatever my subscribers want to see. So if I get a lot of requests, I will perhaps check the game out if I think it suits my channel. I am a sucker for turn-based strategy games. Strategy in general is the key. This channel really revolves around strategy games. So I don't think you'll see any FPS games on this channel. However, I have played around with a little bit of maybe making a Dota video, because I do play a lot of Dota. I did actually make some Dota videos, but I wasn't happy with them, so I ended up not publishing them, or publishing them on the channel. However, if I actually get some decent Dota games, I might actually publish them, because Dota is a really fun game. I really like it a lot. I like MOBAs in general, but Dota in particular. I used to play a lot of Heroes of Newerth too, but not League of Legends though. So yeah. Alright, and his last question is... What was his last question again? I'm gonna have to go and see. Right, more Hearthstone. Yes, I don't have the questions in front of me, you see. So I have to go and read them on a separate note. More Hearthstone, he's wondering about. Alright, well, more Hearthstone, yeah, sure. Sure, that's all I can say. There will be more Hearthstone, trust me. I've realized that it fits the theme of the channel very nicely, and people are requesting it, so yes, definitely more Hearthstone. Expect it. Alright, I hope that answered all of your questions, and on to the next one. So the next question comes in from the Jeffster23, and he wants to know, are you a tits or an ass type of guy? What a question! Alright, so I guess if you've been following my channel for long, you kind of probably have already realized that I love women. I love girls. I love beautiful girls. I've been chasing them ever since I was a young teenager. I kinda, I kinda recognize myself in the sane archetype, get easily baffled by beautiful ladies. And I just never get tired of them. So, do I like tits or ass? Well, I appreciate women in all shapes and forms, really. I mean, I can appreciate a beautiful behind as well as a beautiful bust. It depends on the woman they're on. But if I had to choose, I'd probably have to say that I'm more into busty girls, I'd say. After all, I live in a country where the girls look like this. I'm not sure if you've ever been to Norway, but it's actually... people say that Norway is probably the country in the world with the most beautiful women, perhaps only beaten by Sweden. But yeah, Norway has the world's most beautiful ladies, and a lot of them actually look like this. I mean, if you ever walk down Oslo, you'd see a ton of beautiful girls. So yeah, I'm a tits kind of guy. Hope that answered your question. Alright, on to the next one. So the next question comes in from random guy 12345678889, and he wonders, what is my favorite and least favorite Fire Emblem game? Well, my favorite Fire Emblem game is Fire Emblem 6, the one with the Roy. And many people think this is a little bit strange, like Fire Emblem 6 is a little bit clunky, there's a lot of things that aren't great with that game. But the reason why I love this game so much is merely because it's the game I've gotten the most enjoyment out of. I really enjoyed the story, although I would say that Fire Emblem 7 possibly has a better story, and is possibly a better game in all aspects. However, the reason why I love Fire Emblem 6 so much is because when I first played Fire Emblem, I only knew about Fire Emblem 7. I thought that was the only Fire Emblem game in existence. And yet, when I discovered that there was actually a lot of Fire Emblem games out, that it was actually the 7th game in the series, I was so happy. But then I realized that, oh, most of the games are not out on the Game Boy, they're actually on other consoles. But then I realized, wow, Fire Emblem 6 is actually out on the Game Boy, but it was in Japanese, so I couldn't play it, and I was really sad about that. But then I learned how to apply a translation patch, and when I actually first played the game, I realized, wow, it's actually a sequel, or it's more like a prequel, actually. And I was overjoyed. I was so overjoyed when I found that game, because I thought Fire Emblem 7 was the only game in the series, and I'd probably played it 10 times, and I wanted more Fire Emblem, and then I found Fire Emblem 6, and I realized I could play as the son of Eliwood, and it gave me so much joy. And I remember playing it, I think I played the entire game in like a week. I just played it non-stop, and I probably cleared it like 10 or 15 times at least. So it is my favorite Fire Emblem games for those reasons, and I really enjoy it. I just really enjoy it. It is a good game. It's a very good game, although it certainly has its problems. So, okay, the worst Fire Emblem game, however, this is going to be a little bit controversial, but I am actually going to say, among the games that I've played, it's going to have to be Awakening. And yes, you may go like, what? Why not Gaiden? Why not Fire Emblem 1? No, I actually think Awakening is the worst Fire Emblem game. And don't get me wrong, I've had a lot of fun with Awakening. I've played it 3 times, I think. I have actually started a playthrough on Lunatic on my 3DS, and I'm probably going to clear it on Lunatic. However, the game could have been so much more, I could have said Fire Emblem Gaiden and said, wow, Fire Emblem Gaiden sucked, but Gaiden came out many, many years ago. I kind of excused them for that. Besides, I haven't really tried it out. I played like 3 maps. And I just feel like Fire Emblem Awakening was a disappointment because it could have been so much more. First of all, I don't like the graphics at all. I think the map design is bad, and I think that the maps are too small, and I also think that the graphics of the 3DS makes it very confusing. You can't always recognize the terrain and stuff, and especially for me who is colorblind. The snow maps are an absolute nightmare because I can't see the difference between the different units, and the fact that it didn't add a colorblind mode to such a new game makes me very upset, because colorblindness is actually a very real problem nowadays, and they should have taken it into account, because I almost can't play the snow maps because there is no way for me to see the difference between enemy and allied units because of the color scheme. So there's a few reasons why I don't like Awakening. I'm not going to go on too big of a rant, but for the newest game in the series, I expected a lot more. I also don't think the story is great. Time travel and all that shit, meh. When I heard there was going to be pairings, I really hoped it would be 2 generations, like Fire Emblem 4. But it was more like the children come from the future now, and they can actually romance your... I mean, seriously, I could fuck Chrome's daughter, the tactician. How does that make sense? You know, what happens when she goes back? Will I be able to meet my own future child in the past? Time travel is a mess, and the only people who's really done time travel right is the people who wrote Doctor Who, and I think everyone else should just stay out of it, because I think time travel is a gigantic mess, and I don't really like to have it in my Fire Emblem games. So I'm gonna have to say Awakening, but don't mistake that for the fact that I hate Awakening, because I don't. I actually enjoy Awakening. I've played it, and I do like it, but among all of the Fire Emblem games that I played, it was the biggest disappointment. So yeah, on to the next question. The next question comes in from Mareskio, I'm really sure how to pronounce that, and he asks me, this is always fun, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Wow, where do I see myself in 10 years? Where do I want to be in 10 years, or where do I think I'm gonna be in 10 years? Well, where I want to be, I'd like to have a big house, a car, 2 children maybe, a blonde wife with large breasts who loves me, and, you know, that would be kinda cool. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. Well, I'll never know about the blonde wife, but, well, who knows, maybe I'll still be making YouTube videos. I have no idea where I'm gonna be in 10 years, to be quite honest. I haven't really thought that much. I'm a person who thinks I plan 1 year ahead, maybe 2. That's kind of what I do. I sit down every summer and I think to myself, okay, Mangs, what are you gonna do this year? And this year I am gonna work on math. I'm gonna increase my grades so I can go study and to be a teacher. And I'm gonna work on top of that, and perhaps find myself another place to live. That's my year plan. Next year? Well, I'm gonna think about that next summer. So that's all I can really say. But yeah, blonde busty wife, 2 children, car, house. I'd be pretty satisfied if I could get that. Yeah. All right, on to the next question. So the next question comes in from the Tiger39. He's wondering, will I do a StarCraft Mass Recall Let's Play? Yes, I will. I do believe I sent you a PM saying I would check it out. Thing is, I just have so much else to do at the moment, but it's definitely on the list of things that I plan to do in the near future, so look out for that. And he's wondering, what are my computer specs? Well, nothing impressive really. This computer is very old, but it works for whatever I want it to do. I don't really play any of the super new games. I'm not really a big fan of like Crysis and all those high graphic requirement games. But my specs are, I have an Intel dual-core processor. I have 2.80 GHz and 6 GB RAM. So that's it really. I also run Windows 7. Or is it Windows 8? I can't remember, but anyway, it's not an impressive computer by any means, but it's been running like a clock for 5 years now, and it doesn't get any slower, which is pretty impressive actually, because most computers I have last about 2 to 3 years before I have to buy a new one, but this one's been lasting so fine. It just doesn't get old, it would seem. 5 years is a lot for a stationary computer, and I do plan to keep it for a while because I'm pretty satisfied with it, so yeah, hope that answers your question. So the next question comes in from Resident Play, and he's wondering whether I'm going to be making a Shining Force 2 Let's Play, and also if I'm going to be doing a specific hack of it that's apparently very similar to the Shin patch. Well, I've never heard of Shining Force. Well, I have heard of it, but I've never played it. So I don't think I would start out by playing a hack. I think if I was new to a game, I'd start off by playing the vanilla version of the game. Hacking is sort of something you want to do when you crave something new and interesting. Maybe if you crave a bigger challenge or something. So yeah, I haven't played much Shining Force, and it's not on the list of games I want to do, so I don't think that's going to happen. However, I do have some good news for you. If you really want to see a Shining Force Let's Play, Cyril is actually going to make one. The problem with Cyril at the moment is that he lives on a place where he has no internet, almost, so he doesn't have any upload speed. So he has videos, but he can't upload them. So that's why his Final Fantasy Let's Play has stagnated. So yeah, Cyril has played a lot of Shining Force. As far as I know, he's a very big fan of the game, so he's looking very much forward to making one, but he needs better internet first, and I think he's looking into upgrading it very shortly, so, or soon at least, so, you know, maybe you'll see a Shining Force Let's Play once his Final Fantasy Let's Play is done. And as far as I know, his Final Fantasy Let's Play is pretty much done. It is almost at the end. So yeah, I hope that answered your question, and on to the next one. So the next question comes in from Tyler Zievers, and he is saying, "Yay, mangs! 100,000 views is a lot." Not really. It's actually almost nothing, but thank you all the same. It's been nice seeing your channel grow since you had like 20 subscribers or so. Well, thank you, yeah, it's been pretty nice. I guess you've been around for quite some time then, if you remember that, because that's many years ago. Alright, he wants to know, how did I meet Cyril? Well, that's a good question, I like that. Alright, so for those of you who don't know, Cyril is, as you can say in the name of the channel, Mangs and Cyril. Cyril's one of my best friends. We've been knowing each other for over 11 years now, I think. And we did start this channel together, but it ended up mostly being me who did the Let's Plays, mostly because his internet sucks, and a lot of other reasons, but we do have some plan to make some collaborative Let's Plays together very soon. But anyway, how did I meet him? When I was little, about 12 to 13 years, I was a member of this amazing fantasy club. It was called Imaginaria, which means something along the lines of imagination or something. And in Imaginaria, we used to play a lot of board games, mostly Warhammer Fantasy Battles. If you ever play that, it's a miniature game where you paint and collect soldiers, and you line them up and you have great battles. And that game was a huge part of my childhood. And that club also was a huge part of my childhood. We played Dungeons & Dragons, played Warhammer, we played so many cool miniature and board games together, and that club is really the reason why I turned into a nerd, why I have these interests, and why I love gaming and stuff like that. So I'm really grateful for that. So as far as I know, Cyril was playing the World of Warcraft beta, the vanilla beta. That's a long time ago. And he met two of the people in the club there and quested with them, and they asked him where he was from. He said Norway, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're from Norway too." And they realized he didn't live very far away, so they invited him to come join the club, or at least like check it out. And that's how I met him. We played Warhammer together, and he absolutely demolished me in Warhammer. It was really embarrassing, really, because it was all about luck. I was clearly the better Warhammer player, but he lucked out. You might disagree with that, but so that's how we knew each other. And we also, however, that wasn't the first time we met. We actually met at Games Workshop. I was out to shop Warhammer, and we agreed to meet there. So we saw on Warhammer miniatures together, and then we went to have a bite in Oslo, and yeah, we've been fast friends ever since. Really found out we had a lot in common, and you know, just got along really well. So yeah, that's how I met Cyril. Hope that answered your question. So the next question comes in from Magroff. He's a good real-life friend of mine. He wonders if me and Cyril can do a collaborate Heroes of Might and Magic 2 or 3 Let's Play, or if we could possibly just do a skirmish, like us two battling each other. Well, I have actually asked Cyril if he wanted to do this for a very long time. I've even, you know, proposed it sometimes when he has been visiting me, but we have just never really found the time to do it. And we do, however, want to start doing some more collaborative Let's Plays together. We are possibly going to finish our Baldur's Gate 1 Let's Play together. But yeah, definitely would be awesome if we could get some Heroes of Might and Magic 2 or 3 content on this channel. I'm actually planning on doing a Heroes of Might and Magic 3 campaign playthrough in the future, because I do really love the Heroes games. They are amazing. And Heroes 2 was a big part of both me and Cyril's childhood. We played that game so much when we were little. This was before we knew each other, of course, but we played it separately, together and with our friends and families. It's an amazing game. Heroes of Might and Magic 2 is a game that will always be really have a pretty special place in my heart, so to say. So yeah, that's I'll take it into consideration. I'll keep pestering him about it, and we'll see if we can get a video on here sooner or later. So yeah, on to the next question. So the next question comes in from William Bellblake, and he's wondering if I'm going to do more Fire Emblem hacks. So the answer is yes, definitely. Count on it. There are actually many hacks that I already want to do. There's this new hack that recently came out. Oh, what's it called again? I can't remember. It's about that Phalatress Dark Mage chick taking place in an alternate universe of Fire Emblem 8. She's like the vessel for the Demon King. The name escapes me at the moment, but that's definitely a Fire Emblem hack I want to do. Libyan Knights, maybe. It's been out for quite some time. It's been receiving a lot of praise. I still hope that some of the old hacks that I've reviewed will be completed, such as Mage Knight's Sacred Dawn, such as Marquis Joe's Chronicles of Lusaria. I really do hope that they're not just going to be benched, because they were really good and I'd love to see them completed. I might even revisit Blazer's why am I so bad with names today? Last Promise, yes, the Last Promise, because I actually played an incomplete version last time. It has been patched ever since, I'm saying patched since, and there's actually been added supports to the game. So that's something I really want to do. And as always, PM me hacks if you want me to play them. Maybe if you're even working on some hacks, you could ask me to review them for you. So yeah, definitely do that. I am always on the lookout for good hacks. The problem is I will not review bad hacks, like horrible hacks, because I don't want to tear someone else's work up on my channel. That's not how I want to do things, you know. If I see that a hack is bad, I simply will just not review it. I don't feel like sitting here talking shit about others' work just to gain popularity. That's not the sort of channel I want to have. Even though that could also be entertainment value, I suppose, but nah. So yeah, there will be hacks. Hope that answered your question. So the next question comes in from Mr. NTNen, one of my first subscribers. He asks me, what are your opinion on fedoras? And also top 3 reasons not to do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's Play. Alright, my opinions on fedoras. Okay, someone has been sneaking around in my history or something, I think. I have some pretty strong opinions about fedoras. So, if you don't know, fedoras are the hats that you often saw in like old gangster movies, like old mafia movies. It's that little cool. You know what a fedora is, just Google it if you don't know. So it used to be a pretty cool hat. It used to symbolize badassness, and you know, you were a cool man if you went around with like a fedora. But then someone went ahead and destroyed it, and I'm really talking about the fat, disgraceful beta fucking morons who just started putting fedoras on and kind of just ruining them now. Who am I talking about? There's a specific group of people on the internet, and usually I'm not a guy who gets rustled easily on the internet. I know how trolling works, and I try not to really think all that much about the stupid people out there. But the people who portray themselves as le gentlemen, now if you don't know who that is, Google gentlemen or just YouTube it or something and you'll see. They are a bunch of really, how can I even describe it? I feel sorry for them. They're the kind of guys who get friend-zoned. Not that there's anything wrong with being friend-zoned. I mean, I've been friend-zoned a couple of times myself, but they are the kind of guys who whine and complain about it, and they blame women for not losing their virginity. And they usually wear fedoras, and they call themselves gentlemen, and they think they're so fucking nice, and that's why they don't get any girls, and that the reason why they don't get any girls is because they're so damn nice. It's nothing to do with the fact that they're whiny little morons that doesn't want to learn social codes, doesn't want to learn what women truly want. They just want to sit around and cry like little boys refusing to become men. So yeah, that's my opinion on fedoras. It used to be a really cool hat. I actually have a fedora myself. I used to wear it before it got associated with beta fucktards, and that's what I call them, beta fucktards. Now I can't wear it anymore, because if I put it on, I'm gonna look like a beta fucktard, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, my opinion on fedoras. I used to love them, now I hate them. Not because of how they look, but because of the idiots that started wearing them. So yeah, you can sense I'm getting annoyed already. Good question, Mr. Entinen. You probably knew exactly what was going to happen. Top 3 reasons not to play a Yu-Gi-Oh game. 1. You ask me questions like this. 2. I enjoy watching you beg. And 3. I don't really have a good third reason. I like Hearthstone more, I suppose. Well, I did check out Yu-Gi-Oh ever so slightly. Wow, horrible community, I must say. That's the first thing I'm going to say about Yu-Gi-Oh! Holy crap, what a community that game has. I gotta... Wow, yeah, there's a lot of idiots in there, but then again, Entinen likes the game, so yours... Anyway, I'm not going to say I'm never going to make a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. You're going to have to beg me a little more. To go down on your knees and bow your head a little, maybe, and maybe I'll make a Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's Play. Alright, on to the next one. So the next question comes in from 1997 Quickscope, and he's wondering who are my favorite Fire Emblem characters from the Western games. So the Western games are Fire Emblem 7 and upwards. So yeah, since he said characters, I assume he means all characters, not just playable characters. So, who are my top 3? I think I'm just gonna take 3 or else I'll be going on for hours, because there's so many cool Fire Emblem characters. But one of them definitely has to be Hector. I think Hector is one of the best lords in the series, actually. He has such a great personality. He is complex. He is not a generic lordling that is like, I am good and wants to fight for justice and fairness and very nice and want to make everyone happy. Hector's sort of he is a little bit more pragmatic, you know. He charges through the doors, kills people. He does what needs to be done. He really balances out Eliwood's softness, and there's a great synergy between the two of them. I also like the fact that he's a very good character as well. He's fun to play because he has awesome animations and is just an axe-wielding lord, which is amazing. And I just like him. He is a really good character. Another character that I really like is Louise, for obvious reasons. She is just the most drop-dead gorgeous character in the entire Fire Emblem universe. I mean, I don't know who designed her, but I'd like more Louise characters, please. There might be some in Path of Radiance or Radiant Dawn, I don't know, because I don't play those games, but holy crap, she is so freaking gorgeous. That's a girl you want to marry right there. Just look at those legs. Oh, Jesus Christ. I actually have a wallpaper of Louise as my desktop background. That's how much I like her. So yeah, too bad she's taken. But I'm not really the crazy waifu guy, like, oh, I want to protect people. I hate waifus, actually. I just really love her character design. I think she is just gorgeous. If I were to create a dream girl, she'd look like Louise. Alright, so another character which I really like is Nurgle. Yes, actually, Nurgle, the main villain of Fire Emblem 7. I think that he's the best villain out of all the Fire Emblem games. I think Nurgle has so much depth, he's so complex, and he really takes a step away from the generic Fire Emblem bosses. Usually, you can't really sympathize a lot with the Fire Emblem bosses. They have their own goals and ambitions, but usually they are either evil or they are just monsters. You know, you can't really sympathize with a dragon. And neither can you sympathize with just a dark mage who just wants to destroy everything. But Nurgle is actually so much more than that. Yes, if you play through the game, you might not notice how complex he really is as a character, because you need to play the Gaidens and actually unlock the game's story in order to actually see his past. Now, if you don't want to get spoiled, and if you somehow doesn't already know this, then jump a couple of minutes ahead in the video. But Nurgle's motivations for actually becoming a powerful mage in the first place was because he wanted to rescue his children. In Nils, he had to send them away through the Dragon's Gate because some people were after them and he weren't powerful enough to protect them, so he had to send them away. And then he started gathering power so that he could reopen the gate and get them back. However, dark mages lose themselves if they delve too deep into the darkness, and that's exactly what happened to Nurgle. He lost himself, he lost his memories, and he forgot why he wanted power to begin with. The only thing he remembered was that he needed power. So he kept going on this mad power chase where he'd do anything to become more powerful, and he doesn't even remember why in the first place. And that just makes him such a great character, because you can sympathize with his ambitions, and it's very logical why he's doing the things he's doing. And at the same time, it's so extremely tragic, you know? He just wanted to get his children back, and it turns into an absolute monster. I mean, he even finds his children, and he uses them to get even more power. The children he wanted to rescue in the first place, he is using to get even more power, because he doesn't even remember. Now, I don't actually know if Nurgle as a character remembers that Ninja and Nils are his children. It doesn't seem that way. When he finds them, he just uses them as objects, so I don't think so. So yeah, definitely Hector for being badass, Luis for being freaking gorgeous, and Nurgle for being one of the most complex bosses in all of Fire Emblem. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. So the next question comes in from GZBlay, and he's been pestering me a lot about this lately. You said you were going to make a Fire Emblem 6 Let's Play and give Dorothy the beauty voice. You see, GZBlay, if we're gonna make a whole Let's Play like this, it'd be very, very annoying to listen to. It might be a little bit interesting for like the first episode. I think it would get old pretty quick. No, I'm not gonna do that. Not unless you send me $1 million via PayPal. Hope that answers your question. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe this video has come to an end. I do realize that I haven't answered all of your questions, but to be quite honest, this video is starting to get pretty long, and I might make more Q&A videos, and if I do, I might actually answer some of the questions that I didn't get to answer in this part. So by all means, if you want me to answer more questions, then feel free to ask in the comment section below, send me a PM or a mail. And, you know, maybe I'll make another one when I reach 1 million views or something like that. We are aiming big. So yeah, my name has been Mangs. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A video. And as always, I'll see you next time.